Chapter 14. The Senses. Points to ponder. What are sensory receptors? How do we detect the sense of taste and smell? What is the anatomy of the eye? How do we focus images? What are some eye abnormalities? What is the anatomy of the ear? Which parts function in balance and which parts function in hearing? 14.1 Sensory receptors and sensations. Sensory receptors, dendrites specialize to detect certain types of stimuli. Exteroceptors, detect stimuli from outside the body, for example taste, hearing, vision. Interoceptors, receive stimuli from inside the body, for example change in blood pressure. Types of sensory receptors. 14.1 Sensory receptors and sensations. Types of sensory receptors. Chemoreceptors, respond to nearby chemicals. Pain receptors, a type of chemoreceptors that respond to chemicals released by damaged tissue. Photoreceptors, respond to light energy. Mechanoreceptors, respond to mechanical forces such as pressure. Thermoreceptors, stimulated by temperature changes. Senses and the receptors involved. 14.1 Sensory receptors and sensations. Senses and the receptors involved. How does sensation occur? 14.1 Sensory receptors and sensations. How does sensation occur? Sensory receptors respond to environmental stimuli. Nerve impulses travel to the cerebral cortex. Sensation, conscious perception, of stimuli occurs. Sensory adaptation, decrease in stimulus response, can occur with repetitive stimuli, i.e. odor. 14.1 Proprioceptors and cutaneous receptors. Mechanoreceptors involved in reflex actions that maintain muscle tone. 14.2 Proprioceptors and cutaneous receptors. Receptors in the dermis that make the skin sensitive to touch, pressure, pain and temperature. 14.3 Senses of taste and smell. Taste receptors. Sensitive to sweet, sour, salty and bitter tastes in food. Chilled to 3000 taste buds mostly on the tongue. 80 to 90% of what we perceive as taste is actually due to the sense of smell. 14.3 Senses of taste and smell. Smell receptors. Depends on 10 to 20 million olfactory cells, modified neurons, in the roof of the nasal cavity. Anatomy of the eye: 2 compartments, made of 3 layers / coats. 14.4 Sense of vision. Anatomy of the eye: 2 compartments. Anterior chamber, between the cornea and lens, filled with a clear fluid called aqueous humor. Posterior chamber, most of the eye, behind the lens, contains a gelatinous material called vitreous humor. Made of 3 layers / coats. Sclera, mostly white and fibrous except the cornea. Choroid, darkly pigmented vascular layer. Retina, inner layer containing photoreceptors. 14.4 Sense of vision. Anatomy of the eye: 14.4 Sense of vision. A. The eye, sclera. Sclera, the white of the eye that maintains eye shape. Cornea, transparent portion of the sclera that is important in refracting light. Pupil, a hole that allows light into the eyeball. 14.4 Sense of vision. B. The eye, choroid. Choroid, middle layer that absorbs light rays that are not absorbed by the retina. Iris, donut-shaped, colored structure that regulates the size of the pupil. Ciliary body, a structure behind the iris that contains a muscle that controls the shape of the lens. Lens, attached to the ciliary body and functions to refract and focus light rays. 14.4 Sense of vision. Anatomy of the eye: 14.4 Sense of vision. The eye, the lens. The lens is a flexible, transparent and concave structure. The lens accommodates, changes shape, to focus light on the retina in order to form an image. As we age, the lens loses elasticity and we use glasses to correct for this. C. The eye, retina contains photoreceptors called rods and cones. 14.4 Sense of vision. C. The eye, retina. Contains photoreceptors called rods and cones. Rods are sensitive to light. Cones require bright light and see wavelengths of light, color. The fossa centralis is an area of the retina densely packed with cones where images are focused. Sensory receptors from the retina form the optic nerve that takes impulses to the brain. The blind spot is where the optic nerve attaches and lacks vision. 14.4 Sense of vision. Anatomy of the retina. C. The eye, photoreceptors of the retina. 14.4 Sense of vision. C. The eye, photoreceptors of the retina. Rods. Contain a visual pigment called rhodopsin. Important for peripheral and night vision. Vitamin A is important for proper functioning. Cones. Located mostly in the fova. Allow us to detect fine detail and color. 3 different kinds of cones containing red, green and blue pigments, rods and cones in the retina. 14.4 Sense of vision. Rods and cones in the retina. Summary of eye structures. 14.4 Sense of vision. Summary of eye structures, abnormalities of the eye. 14.4 Sense of vision. Abnormalities of the eye. Color blindness, genetic disease most common in males in which they usually cannot see red or green. Cataracts, lens of the eye is cloudy. Glaucoma, fluid pressure builds up in the eye. Astigmatism, condition in which the cornea or lens is uneven leading to a fuzzy image. Nearsightedness, eyeball is too long making it hard to see faraway objects. Farsightedness, eyeball is too short making it hard to see near objects. Abnormalities of the eye that are corrected with lenses. 14.4 Sense of vision. Abnormalities of the eye that are corrected with lenses. Anatomy of the ear functions and hearing and balance. 14.5 Sense of hearing. Anatomy of the ear. The ear functions and hearing and balance. 3 divisions. Outer ear, functions and hearing, filled with air. Middle ear, functions and hearing, filled with air. Inner ear, functions and hearing and balance, filled with fluid. A. The ear, outer ear includes. 14.5 Sense of hearing. A. The ear, outer ear. Includes. Pinna, the external ear flap that catches sound waves. Auditory canal, directs sound waves to the tympanic membrane. Lined with fine hairs and modified sweat glands that secrete earwax. B. The ear, middle ear includes. 14.5 Sense of hearing. B. The ear, middle ear. Includes. Tympanic membrane, eardrum, membrane that vibrates to carry the wave to the bones. 3 small bones called ossicles, malleus, incus, stapes, amplify sound waves. Eustachian tube, a tube that connects from the throat to the middle ear and is used to equalize pressure so the eardrum does not burst, following the sound wave. 14.5 Sense of hearing. Following the sound wave. C. The ear, inner ear important for both hearing and balance. 14.5 Sense of hearing. C. The ear, inner ear. Important for both hearing and balance. 3 areas, cochlea, semicircular canals, vestibule. Stapes, middle ear bone, vibrates and strikes the membrane of the oval window causing fluid waves in the cochlea. Vestibule, gravitational equilibrium. Semicircular canals, rotational equilibrium. C. The ear, cochlea converts vibrations into nerve impulses. 14.5 Sense of hearing. C. The ear, cochlea. Converts vibrations into nerve impulses. Contains the organ of Corti, spiral organ, sense organ containing hairs for hearing. Bending of embedded hairs cause vibrations that send nerve impulses to the cochlear nerve and then to the brain. Pitch is determined by varying wave frequencies that are detected by different parts of the organ of Corti. Volume is determined by the amplitude of sound waves. 14.5 Sense of hearing. The inner ear, hearing. The inner ear, semicircular canals and vestibule. 14. Sense of equilibrium. The inner ear, semicircular canals and vestibule. Detects movement of the head in the vertical and horizontal planes, gravitational equilibrium. Depends on hair cells in the utricle and saccule. Detects angular movement, rotational equilibrium. Depends on hair cells at the base of each semicircular canal, ampulla.